Hello, I am Anshula Dikshit, Public Relations Executive at the award-winning Fashion Community Week in San Francisco. Our platform offers support and opportunities for emerging fashion designers and brands from around the globe. This year, we celebrated the 10th edition of our existence. This is Fashion Community Speak, where we interview global fashion industry experts who join us to share their advice and expertise with us. Today, our guest is Sydney Chaney Thomas, the founder of Ocean SF, a sustainable sailing apparel company that makes sailing apparel out of natural fabrics and is committed to quality, comfort, and sustainability. She's also a writer and teacher. She has written three books: Love and Blessings, Real Food for Real People, and Nine, a collection of short stories. She teaches college courses at UC Berkeley and language arts. She's also a painter. Sydney had a solo exhibit at the Wilder Gallery in October 2019 and will be featured artist at the Art Gallery at the Orianda Library in May 2021. Welcome to Fashion Community Speak, Sydney. It is wonderful to have you as our guest speaker today.
Thank you so much for having me. I just wanted to tell you how much I love your organization. We did our first Fashion Community Week fashion show last year around this time. It was phenomenal. I just got so much out of it, so professionally run. I met so many wonderful designers. At the end of my show, I had a buyer who wanted to buy every piece in my collection, so that was fantastic. And then I made some wonderful industry contacts. I was asked by ethically.com, a platform for sustainable clothing, to be one of their 10 launch partners. So that was fantastic. They're a platform developed by some Google engineers, and so they really know what they're doing. So they launched with me, and we right now, of course, we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I still am seeing sales coming in, and I'm not sure if I told you, but I donate 10% of everything that I sell, my proceeds, to the Lonely Whale and 5 gyres.
Wow, that's amazing. And thank you so much, Sydney, for your kind words. And it was wonderful having you on Fashion Community Week, as well. And now let's just get the focus on your brand. You are definitely focusing on a specific niche market by specializing in chic sailwear. And to top that, you're offering a sustainable collection made with natural fabrics. From fabric selection to manufacturing, your brand follows a complete sustainable process. Can you just walk us through your process?
Well, sustainability has always been really important to me. I grew up on a farm. I've always been an outdoors person. I cannot stand synthetic fabrics to wear them. So obviously when I started sailing, I was out wearing my polyester fleece because I didn't really have another alternative, and I got very wet. I was extremely cold, and I do know that wool is hyperthermic. So I was like, if I could have a jacket like this made out of wool, I would be warm and I wouldn't spend 5 hours shivering. And so that's sort of where I began. And luckily, I found a company that I could source 100% merino wool from. And then from there, I was like, everything I do is sustainable. Linen, I'm moving into bamboos. I just don't like polyester, and it's not made well. It's not ethical for our environment. It pollutes our oceans and our drinking water. So I just could not, in good conscience, ever use it. So I found this company. I milled my first $20,000 worth of fabric through, and I had some investors and some help, but we actually had to make it because it didn't really exist.
That's true, Sydney. I mean, I agree with you that it has started changing though. And sometimes people are not very, familiar with the whole concept of sustainability, and the way you highlighted it is just amazing. I think we are all just riding on the same boat. We need to realize it, the importance and the significance of sustainability, in fashion industry. So I would just like to ask you, let's say for those in our audience who are unfamiliar with sustainability in fashion, can you explain what makes a fabric sustainable?
There's so many different facets to it, but I just really want to highlight that people didn't really believe that sustainable fabrics could be technical. So this company that I mill with, they create technical fabrics that are made of natural fibers and are sustainable. So sustainability is basically a renewable resource. Like wool is obviously from sheep, and linen comes from plants. Bamboo obviously is from bamboo. All of these can be regrown, and they also biodegrade. So that's the most important aspect of this process for me, is that I think it's roughly 75 to 80% of all clothing ends up on a landfill. And when it is made out of polyester, which is a form of plastic, it's petroleum based, they become an artifact. It might be fast fashion, but they don't go away. So they're actually, it's very slow. They don't disintegrate. You could take this hoodie that I'm wearing and you could bury it in your backyard and it would disappear eventually. It doesn't leave a trace of toxins, and so that's what I mean by sustainability. And also I think making something that is so well crafted that you could wear it for 10 years, or you could give it to, a friend or your daughter if you grow out of it. And that's why we developed our vintage program, so that you can resell things that you've grown out of, or you just decide you don't like and they don't fit you properly, or whatever it is you want new Ocean SF gear. So we created a circular economy just even within our own little brand. So when people start to think that way, then everything will be sustainable, and we'll not have the landfill that we have, and the pollution and what we're doing to our oceans and waters. And polyester fleece, for people that don't know, when you wash it, it leaches into the water, and then the municipalities cannot filter it out. So you end up drinking it.
Oh my God, that's really bad,
It's really bad. It's terrible. And so they find it, if you like in our fish, they find it inside their intestines. It's just very,
yeah. And I think
so it's got to stop.
yes, it definitely needs to stop. It needs immediate attention, because we cannot put like ocean life at stake. And as you said that, well-crafted garments and thinking like just long ahead in the future with zero waste policy should be the goal of all the aspiring and young minds who wants to step into the fashion industry. And talking about, the facts and the fabrics that you were sharing about, I would just like to highlight that according to marketresearch.biz, the analysis of the global sailing jacket markets revealed that the North American market is projected to dominate in terms of revenue share, estimated for 2020. Do you think the demand for sailwear is on an upward growth these days?
Well, I always look at Ocean SF with the same model as Lululemon. Like clearly everyone who's wearing Lululemon isn't doing yoga, but they do like to wear it walking or hiking or some other sport. It's very transferable. So for me, I just really needed to solve the sailing issue for myself personally and for my friends that race. And like I told you earlier, it's my fabric. I mean, my jackets have been tested at sea. The sailors that go long distances have taken them and love them because they can get wet and stay warm, and they've held up. So I think that in adventure sports, sailing is one of the hardest to solve, because you never know when you're going to get wet. Like if you're rock climbing, you could say, okay, I'm not going to get wet probably, like, because you can read the forecast. Or if you're skiing, you can go into the lodge, but when you're sailing, you're kind of committed to whatever you have on, and you don't know if you'll get wet or not. So I think that this is a much larger market than just sailing, but I wanted to win the sailing market first, which I feel like I have.
Yes, you definitely have. And it's interesting to see what the kind of work that you're doing and the kind of fabrics that you're working with. You seem to be so considerate, considering the ocean life, considering the sustainability factor. And these days we keep reading so many articles. Like just the other day I was reading an article from Forbes, and Forbes article explained like how 85% of Americans are thinking more about sustainability these days. So why do you think sustainability is becoming so popular suddenly, during this time?
I think it's been going on for a long time behind the scenes, but the problem has been with fast fashion is that it's so inexpensive and it's so quick. So the education process has been longer because people had to really become more aware of what's going on in the ocean. So it's very evident. You can Google it, and it's shocking, the single-use plastic usage, and then moving into the clothing industry. So I think it's just people are just more aware of it.
Thank you for sharing, about sustainability. And I completely second that, that just be aware. And as they say, you should be aware of who made your clothes when you step into the shops, and just think about the people behind it and the kind of damages it is actually causing. And it's amazing to see like so many designers stepping in and the concept of sustainability becoming so popular. And also like talking about articles, there was also an article published by the Sail World, like staggeringly, huge amount of waste is produced by the fashion industry. And as the cost of most products doesn't include the cost of their disposal, or they drain on resources and the environment, we have got to a stage where clothing is generally too cheap, as you were talking about. And assuming we need to buy some new clothing, especially many of the technical items we use for sailing that use high-tech plastic-based fabrics and materials, would you advise how we can buy a greener alternative, or you can show us some options?
I think that, there's always a place for like a Gore-Tex storm jacket, or, obviously if you're buying a tent, you're going to need those materials that are waterproof. Canvas with wax is also another alternative, and that's what people used in the past, and that worked very well. So I think that anytime you are using a non-biodegradable fabric, it has to be used very sparingly. Like right now, we're looking at 90% of all the clothing made is made out of polyester. So we just have to reverse that. But there are some, I'm not sure, I don't really have the manufacturers on the tip of my tongue, but I have looked at them because I'd love to partner with them to do a canvas with a covered wax, because I think that would be a great alternative. So, because a lot of these storm jackets, over time they just crack, and they sailors can't wear them because they just they lose their integrity. Yes. But with like a wax canvas alternative, you could just have it, we need to go back to a time where we took our shoes in and got them resold instead of throwing them in the garbage,
Yes.
So that's what I hope to see in the future.
Yes, and I wish that we just step into more like vintage clothing, secondhand clothing, slow fashion, thinking about the future. And it was so nice, hearing all those insights, learning about so many fabrics, learning about their impacts. Sydney, I must say that it was wonderful having you in our interview series. Thank you again for sharing your valuable insights with us. And I would also like to thank our audience for tuning in and watching the show. If you would like to learn more about Ocean SF and is interested to utilize the platform, you can simply log into oceansf.co and tune in every Wednesday at noon on our Fashion Community Week, IGTV, to watch live interviews with fashion industry experts. All interviews are also available on our platforms every Wednesday and Thursday at 12 noon, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday with another interview series. Thank you so much, Sydney.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure talking with you today and helping other people understand sustainability.